live. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It is Friday, March 25th. My name is Everett DeLorme, joined by my now Friday podcast partner, Mr. Dan Neely from 5-1 Volleyball. It's a great day today. We're going to talk about some news in the world of volleyball. There's a little bit of, I guess, what is it? Like, there's some hot news on the docket right now.
I mean, this time of year, there's always hot news.
There's some hot news that we're definitely going to get into. Then we're going to talk about a few of our all-stars and maybe some award winners, our own award winners for the SuperLega volley. Right now, we're currently watching Mac versus Calgary from the U Sports Championships. It's on the TV behind that. So if we look distracted at any point, that might be it. They're all tied up at 22s in the second with Calgary leading 1-0. I won't lie, I'm pretty sad I'm not there. I was like, this is like the first time since like 2013, I think, that I'm not at a national championship.
Yeah, and it's such a fun tournament too.
So
Just
fun.
like a lot of games, very short amount of time. You know, it's kind of like NCAA March Madness, which is going on right now, right?
Yeah.
It's like the guys are hyped up, especially those fifth-year guys who are given their all. Fun tournament. I've only been once or twice, but it's still had a lot of fun. But yeah, really, it's going to be a fun podcast today, Everett.
Yeah,
Glad to be here, another Friday Classic. And it's a fun one, too. Like, these awards, like, I wish the leagues had these awards because they're, you know, it's a great topic for me to discuss, for fans to discuss. But in lieu of an official one, this is probably as good as you're going to get.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so weird in like the NBA and other sports. It'll be like preseason, like who's going to be the MVP this year? Who's the best? And that's all they talk about. And every week there's an update on who's going to be the MVP. Whereas in volleyball, we just the guys played great. They did a good job.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of culture, sports difference.
Yeah,
we love our awards. We love our stats over here.
True.
Not as much in Europe, but I still think it's a good idea and it's really fun to discuss. And I'm looking forward to hearing your picks, Everett.
I'm looking forward to hear yours as well. Let's start with a little bit of news that we can discuss because earlier today on Instagram, Polish national team captain Michael Kubiak has announced his retirement from the national team. Now, I feel like if you're a pleb, you're pretty upset, but for those of us in the know, for those of us who got to watch Poland this summer, whether it's at the Olympics or at Euro volleys, that's probably the best for the Polish national team.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of discussed this on our last podcast a little bit. I think this is great news for Poland, for everyone, because it was a little awkward there by the end, right? I mean, yeah, there was a big question mark whether he would hang on for the World Championships, and I think there was really a lot of tension within the Polish national team on whether like the younger guys were going to get a chance ever, whether like Kamil Semeniuk, Śliwka, like all these guys. When are we next, right? Like Kubiak has been starting for the national team since he was forever, right? So these guys are like 25, 26, 27. It's about time. Yeah,
it's about time, and I mean they've paid their dues. Like some of them, like they're junior world champions. They they are obviously on the map at that level. Some of them have won Champions League. Like they've done everything else, and they have to sit on the bench for their national team, playing behind a guy who isn't as good as them anymore. Well, that's the reality.
They won the World Junior U21 World Championships in 2017, and like crushed the golden generation. And I'm pretty sure, isn't Kochanowski the only starter out of all those guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a little ridiculous.
And like if you look at any other team, if you have young superstars coming up off a team like that, like they're going to be integrated into the national team quickly. And here we are 5 years later, and none of those players are integrated, right? And I think it also kind of just highlights, that was a big ace there to tie things up at 24s. But I think it just also highlights about how Heinen loves to satisfy old heads. Because we saw it with two teams in a row where with Tragica and Perugia last year, Heinen just did whatever he could. Oh, you can't set a high ball to the right side? Sure, we're just going to put Interhorse there. We're gonna let Vernon Evans and Massimo Mujai like rot on the bench. And the same thing once he gets to Poland. It's just let's just go with the old heads and not go with the young guys who can actually play.
The man has very little patience.
No patience.
Yeah. But this is great. I mean, because it clears a lot of the awkwardness, or at least we think it clears a lot of the awkwardness of what's going on with this Polish national team, which is possibly one of the explanations. The locker room stuff, which is for why they haven't been performing, haven't really won since the World Championships in 2018 with Wilfredo Leon now. And I think like Hainen's gone, Kubiak's gone. After this, I'm almost guaranteed a couple more dominoes are going to fall here of the older guys on the Polish national team, and I think that'll give the team a lot of energy. Like they're still going to be absolutely contenders, probably still the favorites in 2022 World Championships. And yeah, I think this just prevents any weird politics dynamics from entering into the decisions, and win-win for everyone. Kubiak probably wants a summer off too. Come on.
Absolutely he wants a summer off. And then I think if you're a Polish fan, you're probably looking at the next dominoes to fall would be Drzyzga, and have Janusz instead, and then Kurek. I think Kurek is a little more of a questionable one. I think he's a guy that could stay on and play. However, you do have Kaczmarek, who's ready to go, and you know what? Maybe he just fits in better with that style when you've got. Like I think if you have those three outsides of Leon and Semeniuk on the outside with Kaczmarek on the right side, like that's an absolutely disgusting team with Kokonowski and Huber down the middle, or maybe you can do it with Wisniewski. There's
a few middles that I'd put in before that. I mean, you still is Novakovsky. Is he retired? Biniak.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, maybe if you're getting a couple guys there before we put in Wisniewski, which I like, but I'm not sure if he's going to sniff the national team anytime soon.
Well, already some play on the chat board here. Someone 100% true came in as a troll, ended as a fan. So we're doing something right.
All right,
we're doing something right here, Dan. But yeah, big news coming out of the Polish national team. So it's going to be interesting to see what they go through. For the rest of this summer. Now let's jump over to I
was gonna say it's kind of a weird timing to retire though. Like why now? Why not right after the European Championships? Do you think something happened like recently?
That's a good point. That is a good point.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just like he's just getting old, and after another year in Japan taking a lot of swings, he's just like, bro, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
You know, he watches what Semeniuk and Slivka and Fornal, who's been having a great year at JW, are doing right now. It's just being like, yo, I can't do that anymore. Or
this is purely conjecture, total guess, but maybe the federation was like, hey man, like it'd be a little awkward with you on the team. Maybe let's just it's a good time to hang them up because we don't know if we'll select you necessarily. Maybe total guess, but
they'll get Josh Binstocked. Yeah,
that's a niche reference.
Yeah, that's
want to explain that one, Everett?
Oh, it was just kind of like it was. Josh Binstock was like hemming and hawing about retiring, and basically he was pushed to retire from VC. Like he was probably going to retire, but he was pushed to retire by VC at the 2016 World Tour Finals because like it was in Toronto in front of the home fans and stuff like that. So like it made a lot of sense, but it was just kind of like one of those things that like he continued to play after that and stuff like that as well. But yeah, let's just jump over to the Italian league now. And how do we want to do this? Do we want to discuss it? Do we want to kind of go one at a time? Do you want to start with do we want to start with first team, then go to second team? Let's
go by position. I think that's the most interesting way to do it. You give me your first team. We'll just go back and forth. First team, second team, go by position. By the way, this is like a North American style kind of all league team. So like a full 7-player first team and full 7-player second team. Essentially the 14 best players in the league, but not 14 overall by position. By position. If you guys aren't kind of familiar with the format here.
Okay. You start. Who do you have? You want to start by second team and then first team, or first team then second team?
Let's do first team then second team.
All right. Who do you have as your outside hitters on the left side for your first team?
So I went with one quite easy choice, Wilfredo Leon.
Yes.
And second player I picked was Alessandro Micheletto.
Okay.
The unicorn.
You went with the unicorn.
The young star, the prodigy.
All right. Fair enough.
And I don't know, Wilfredo Leon, easy choice. Best statistical player, best player that I can see playing, incredible server. Kind of reminded me this season a bit more of Leon, like in his first year in Perugia, because the last couple of years he's been trying more stuff. He's been a little more inconsistent. I think he's almost looked injured at times, but definitely back to prime Leon this year, which is great. And Micheletto, I mean, just the step he took again this year after that European Championships. Trentino's been way better than we expected in the preseason. I think that's in large part to Micheletto's play. He's really added the attacking to his game. I think it was way ahead of schedule. It's one of the things I kind of criticized for him last year was the attacking. The serving's incredible now. Like he's almost has no weaknesses now, which is like even playing in 6 back row defense, he's pretty spectacular. So the stats are there. Trentino's a good team in large part because of him. So that's why I gave it to.
All right. Yeah, I mean the stats are right there, averaging 5.2 points per set. That's absolutely ridiculous. For my first team, I also have Wilfredo Leon, pretty obvious. But I'm gonna go with someone that I'm surprised you didn't pick because you all put us onto this guy, and that is going to be the man that you see there on the screen in the second spot of points per match, Mr. Rock Mosic. Now, I know his team didn't have the results that they expected, but let's be honest, he was their team. He did everything for them. And you know, like he is a growing player in the league. So when you score at he led the league in scoring, was the top scorer, second in points per set at 5.12, just behind Leon. You know, to me, you have to give it to him with a performance like that. It's kind of like a Russell Westbrook situation where he's having the success without the team having the success, but still.
I don't think that applies as much in volleyball though. Because if you're scoring the ball a lot, and I know I kind of argue against myself right here, but but if you have the ball a lot in basketball, you can be detrimental to the team. But if you're getting a lot of sets in volleyball and you're scoring them efficiently, you're objectively good. There's no Russell Westbrook who's okay. He scores a lot, but he's inefficient and he turns the ball over. That doesn't happen as much in volleyball unless you're making a lot of attacking errors, but that shows up the efficiency stats, and we have those for Mosic, which are pretty much on par with Micheletto. Just I guess for me, their stats were close, and I just went with maybe I still think Micheletto, especially in the backcourt, looks a little bit better defense and passing.
Oh, I mean, don't get me wrong.
And the team record for me, the Trentino, that they're so much better, but
that to me was also kind of another thing is that yes, the team record is there, but he does have other players to rely on, right? He does have Spertoli setting him.
It was close. I had Rock on my second team. It was shifting around.
So do you want to move to the second team then?
Sure, yeah. So I had Rock, as I said, and then I had Mr. Irvin Angerpet.
Okay,
that's my other outside hitter. Yeah.
All right.
So who do you have?
I went with Angerpet as well.
Ah, nice. Okay, so we had the same 4.
No.
Oh, okay.
And Mr. Thomas Jashke.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, you're going to have to sell me on Thomas Jashke here.
Thomas Jashke had a really good season overall.
I know it was fine, but is he one of the give me the argument for him over Leal.
Give
me the argument for him over Micheletto.
You're not wrong because as I'm this was something I wrote out last night, and now that I'm thinking about it,
he's not bad, but
I'm pretty sure if you look at the efficiency stats, which one is it here? Oh no, it's the media. Oh yeah, attacks average weight. This is the weird ass stats that we have for Lega volley here. You see, Thomas Jashke is actually coming in at 6th with his overall efficiency in the league.
Okay. There's the argument then.
So that was coming in ahead of Micheletto and coming in ahead of Rock Mosic. Plus,
Andy Leal, because I didn't really consider Jashke. Leal was the guy who I'm okay, maybe I had to kind of do some analysis here.
It's hard to give two guys from the same team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
Right?
But why though?
I don't know, but it's just hard. It's just hard.
Right.
And for me, I don't know. I look at Milano. I think that they had a really good season overall, finishing a clear 5th place. At the beginning of the season, I wasn't even sure if they were going to be making the playoffs, but they were able to come together really, really well. And Jashke was really that guy who would pull them through. I mean, he led them in scoring. he was a really good passer for them. So yeah, like I don't know. I think Jayski is doing pretty good. Do you?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not a terrible choice. Don't get me wrong. I don't know. I guess yeah, especially Micheletto.
Micheletto.
I think Micheletto's better in almost every part of the game than Jayski.
I don't disagree.
On a better team.
I don't disagree with that. I kind of regret not picking Micheletto.
If there was a third team that we're doing here today, ever maybe I would. You can switch your pick if you want.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna stick with Jayski.
Okay.
Just cause I got to live to give some love to some North Americans at some point.
But Jayski was. I mean, it wasn't that bad last year as well. I feel like he's getting a lot more attention this year, and
yeah, but I feel like he's just having that good of a season where, like, and that's the thing, especially with that Milano team, everyone wants to give Ishikawa credit, and everyone wants to, like.
And then Poro's a fun story,
and then like Poro's
Chin and Yes.
So.
But I think those guys do deserve credit.
Absolutely. So I'm not as I'm sitting here, I'm not as sold on Jayski on the second team as I was earlier. But I'm gonna
it's fine.
I'm gonna stick with it.
This is your team, Ever.
I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna stick with it. I mean, hey, if I was making a team and I had Irvin Angerpet and Thomas Jayski as my two outsides, I'd be really stoked about that. So.
Yeah, for sure. Anyone else you considered here? Like I don't know.
Micheletto, obviously.
Lucarelli,
Des Veronik.
Veronik is actually, I've been kind of down on him, but this is his best season by far.
I think he had a great season. Yeah. I mean, he was really the only one that kept Monza afloat, especially with all the injuries that we saw to Grosjean. They were kind of all over the place. Like, yeah, I thought he had a great season overall.
The issue with him, like for me, has always been kind of like he's a big guy, so he gets blocks. Like he's actually a good passer for his size. Yeah. He's a big guy, so he can take a high set load. But the efficiency hasn't been there, the power, whatever. He doesn't have a lot of tricks in his bag. But this year the efficiency's been a lot better. He's kind of ironing out. I think, maybe skipping the European Championships. He had a bit more fresher legs. I don't know.
But I also think like when he was way more effective and way more efficient when Grosjean was healthy. Right. And when they had that, when they have that ability to go to the right side to Grosjean, I think it was just way easier. So it'll be interesting to see what Monza does. I don't know what Das Veronik is doing in terms of like contract style. Like I don't know if he's going to be coming in for.
He's been there. He's been there a while.
He has been in there for a while,
4 or 5 years.
So I don't know if he's going to be coming in for another season or kind of what it is. But yeah, he's someone I considered. But once you look at the numbers, like they just aren't there. Like for like
Stephen Marr.
Obviously, I had to look at Stephen Marr. I think Stephen Marr had a great year for
bounce back year for him.
Bounce back
after
and like
you called it. We called it for sure.
Like bounce back year in a season that he was having a career year of numbers, keeping Milano alive, and then relegated to the bench, and then they started playing worse. But hey, I digress. It's not like I haven't said Piazza's a stooge multiple times.
Yeah. All right. Should we go on next position?
Yeah. What do we go? We ought to go to the middle.
Sure, middle blockers. You go first this time.
I mean, I think this one is a pretty easy choice for me. Robert Landi Simone, Bartolomei, I don't know, Cheniese. I don't know.
Okay. I have one of those. Can you guess which one I share with you?
Simone.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Pretty easy choice there.
Yes.
But I had Cheniese again. Once again, I had Cheniese on my second team. Cheniese. Okay. But I had Sreko Lisinac. Lisinac on my first team.
Okay, why? You're gonna have to explain this one to me.
I mean, just in terms of, like raw numbers, like he's attacking extremely efficiently, blocking really well as well.
He's not even in the top 20 on this list of attacking.
Okay, which list are you looking at?
I'm looking at the attacks average weight.
So what is that? I've never even seen that.
No clue. But I think it like weights you out on like a score system per.
Okay, because on the stats page, he scored 216 points, so fourth in the league on 62% efficiency, which is only behind Robert Landi Simone.
Is this kills?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to that.
Plus 0.56 blocks per set, also very good. I mean, just the attacking threat for me, like it is huge, and he's 8% more efficient than Cheniese. For me, that's huge. Cheniese is great, and he's improved a lot.
Where are you seeing this? That he's fourth in the league in attacks? Like, no, he was like maybe on Trentino.
No, on the Sreko Lisinac, like right here on the stats page for the Liga Volley.
Yeah.
You go stats. individual player, pick the role middle blocker, and you get everyone.
Oh,
I don't know what you're looking at.
I never you could do that.
I don't know what you're looking at.
Learn something every day over here.
Or you can go over to volumetrics, and we can look at that as well.
Yeah, I still don't know you know how to use volumetrics. Okay. I can see that. Let's see if we can figure this out here. Hopefully, well, this was going to be going on the 5-1 audio podcast, so.
Yeah, so why don't we just
yeah
move on to the next one.
So you did Lishniach and Robert Landry-Simon.
Yeah, but Chinyeze is still a good choice. He had a very good season.
Yeah,
that the turnaround in Chinyeze's serve has been like unbelievable. Like he used to be almost like a liability with his float serve a few years ago, right? Like that thing was like a baby, gimme serve. Now he started with the spin serving last year in Valencia, and now it's actually turned into a bit of a weapon. And he's gone a couple runs this year, which I'm like, when's the last time we've seen that, especially from a middle blocker, where a guy develops a spin serve when he's like 23? Do you remember any other cases like that?
Arthur Schwartz.
Ah, good one.
Everett, that doesn't mean anything. Okay, thanks, Rob. All right, second team now for the middles.
Mm-hmm. So I had Chinyeze, and I also had Sebastian Soleil, a player who I love that is playing in the Italian league. The huge reason for Perugia. Almost seems like their first option some matches. Just opens up the offense so much for everyone else. Not that they really need it. And I think the connection he's had with G Nelly is like so much better than what he had with Tragica. And I mean, again, one of the league leaders in efficiency and attacking. Also, I think an underrated blocker.
Okay, I feel that. I also had Sebastian Soleil on my second team.
Okay,
alongside Flavio, and now.
So you love okay. Yeah.
I love what? What were you gonna say?
You left Lisenach completely off.
Yeah.
I think he's
Flavio,
one of the best middle blockers in the game, who's having a great season on a surprisingly good team, was a leader on the team, right after the European Championships in Serbia, barely missed any time. Like, I don't know.
Sebastian Soleil is like the top 5 middle blocker.
I know. I have some Soleil too
in the league. But then Flavio, yes, sure, they're getting relegated. But like this is just like an all-star team. If I was to be ranking the top middle blockers, he wouldn't be in there. But he had a fantastic season, and we're looking at it right there. The stats speak for themselves. 239 points, averaging 0.67 blocks per set, which was second in the Lega Volley, only to Projaskinin. Oh no, third. Sorry, Matteo Piano was averaging 80.80. But
Matteo Piano.
I think Flavio had a great season, and on a team that was literally crumbling around him, right? On a team and the fact that he did it on a team that couldn't even pass the ball, right? With an old man setter who sometimes wears goggles, right? Like that's
who we were
impressive.
praising nonstop last year, but yeah,
yes,
it's been good this year.
but I mean, hey, like we've talked about this. It's because they don't have anyone who can pass the ball, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the big reason.
Okay, but I guess the issue I have with this, I mean, Flavio's a great player. I think he's going to be probably starting on the Brazilian national team this summer. I can't. I'm kind of contradicting myself on what I said earlier a little bit, but like I think with a middle blocker, especially when like you're a blocker, your role is to anchor the defense, and then your team has a bad defense, and you're the first point of defense on a bad defense.
But he's a good blocker though.
Oh, he has good blocks per set. Does that mean you're a good blocker? You can be a great blocker.
He was one of the best blockers in the league. He was like,
yeah, but maybe he's a Russell Westbrook. Maybe stat padding over it.
Maybe stat padding.
No, he's good. I can't be too mad at this one either.
He has 58 blocks on the season.
That's quite impressive.
Aiden Zingle is the only one I can see here who has more, and that he's at 59. So he had the second most blocks in total for the season, and he was the second or third best in blocks per set on a dumpster fire of a team.
True. The fact that he was able to play this well and never really complained, especially when his Brazilian teammates were the ones causing a lot of the drama. Yeah, I mean, probably Flavio's was one of my next guys up for sure. He's having a great season. I really hope he stays in Europe too. I haven't read any rumors or anything. Anyone else you considered here, Everett?
Yeah, Lishniach.
Wozniak.
That was the.
What about
the
like
obvious
a
one.
Petrashinen at all?
No, honestly, like I feel like it just kind of drops off quite a bit after those first five.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Piano had a good year, but no one put it all together like any of those five.
Is middle the weakest position in the SuperLega?
Yes.
Even more than Libero?
Ooh, maybe not.
I would say Libero.
Yeah.
Personally,
I think most teams stock up elsewhere and then just leave their middles and liberos to Italians.
every league in the world does that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But-
yeah, and I mean, I think overall, like Poland probably has stronger middles, and so does Russia.
Yeah, exactly.
Just-
That's what I was kind of thinking
yeah.
too.
Maybe even Brazil too.
I don't watch enough Brazil recently to say that, but definitely Poland and Russia, I think.
I'm just thinking about like the top end. Like if you think you've got Lucas and Isaac there,
Yeah.
yeah. But who knows? Who knows? So that's middle blockers. Now, do you want to go to the right side? Do you want to libero? How do we?
We can do right side. Actually, no. Let's do setter. Let's do setter.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, I'll go first. Simone G Nelly is my pick. Turning that Perugia team around, easy to look good. After what happened last year, Rob can testify to that. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to fit in with that team. We've seen it. Like Leon's a great player. He's not the easiest guy to set. Like there's a lot of egos there. Simone comes in. Classic chill Simone G Nelly, gets along with everyone. The team, like the feeling on the team is completely different, and just like the fact that they're able to run the middle so well, and
They're able to run everyone so
their second middle's been like Stefano Mangosi, and
Yeah.
he looks amazing. Like,
Yeah,
he looks like a star, right? Like
they that entire team looks good right now. Like whether it's Anderson or Plotnicki with Rich Lickley on the right side, like Leon's having a career a year. He's the best setter in the SuperLega. There's no doubt about it. And I mean, obviously, I think that's a big thing to say when you've got guys like Bruno or DeCecco. But let's be honest, none of those guys had a fantastic year all around. Like Bruno's year was questionable has been questionable at Modena. DeCecco a little bit more. I think he's dealing with some other issues, and in terms of like the roster that he has around him and whatnot. But yeah, Gianelli, hands down, by far the best setter in SuperLega this season.
yeah, that was the easy one. I mean, you said DeCecco didn't have the best. I had DeCecco on my second team.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, okay.
That's it was
Like
between,
there was a gap, but like
it was between him and Spertoli, because I think Spertoli had a fantastic year at Trentino.
Yeah, I love Spertoli. He's like
Yeah.
one of my favorite guys. Super nice guy too. I've done some interviews with him.
I think too, just going back to Gianelli for a second, you talked about how he comes in and just calms things down. I really think that's the Trentino effect, because he grew up in that Trentino system and that Trentino offense that spreads things out, that has the ability to go to a 3 outside hitter system like they do. Like they just play volleyball the right way. And I'm not saying I'm not saying that necessarily like there's only one right way to play volleyball, but they do it in a very nice style, and it's always kind of the same. It's very structured. It's very even. They don't try to overpower you with one player. Like it's a structured game plan. He definitely brought that to Perugia, and I'm not entirely sure if they had that, especially with the turnover of coaches that they've had recently. And I'm not sure if Gerbic is the type of guy to bring that to a team, right? So I really think that he has that ability to just be a calm presence and set the ball. And we saw the exact same thing with Spertoli this year. Yeah.
Yeah. I like Spertoli. I mean, it's too bad because he'd be a great starter for any national team. But
Absolutely.
I mean, Gianelli, like, it's pretty crazy though that we're almost picking the top two setters as both Italians. Like that's a really testament to this. And Pablo Porro too, like is one of the better setters in the league as well already.
Yeah, I mean, I know some people like to shit on him in the Discord and stuff like that, but I think Porro's actually been having a pretty good season, and Milano's record is
he's still so young too. I mean,
still so young.
We're spoiled that like Micheletto and Stefani and all these guys are playing, and Patola are like leaders in the league already. But like realistically, like these guys are like 19, 20 years old. They shouldn't be starting already, but it's just such a good team that they're ahead of schedule.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. All right, that's first team, second team. Is Spertoli is the only one you thought about? I don't think Bruno deserves a mention. Like I don't think he's done.
What about Brizard?
he was already named the best player in the world, and like you. I
consider Bizarre too. I mean, he's such a good player.
He is such a good player, but what did he do this year with Piacenza? Piacenza was so up and down.
So now you're criticizing. Now it's about team performance.
When you're the setter, absolutely. If you're the setter, 100%. That is directly like, and especially in a volleyball world where like these stats are absolutely garbage and we don't know any like setter specific stats. Absolutely, I'm going for like team performance.
Right.
There's no doubt about it. Like, hey, your team loses in the Italian Cup quarters. Team loses in the quarterfinals of the CEV Cup to Tools, who got slapped by Monza.
That's an expensive team though, Piacenza.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, sorry. Why did I start talking about Modena there? No, absolutely. Like I don't think Piacenza was that good this year. They're poorly coached. I think Bernardi is stooge number 1 above Piazza in terms of bad coaches in the league. Like,
yeah, because if you told me at the beginning of the season that Trentino would win 5 more games than Piacenza, I'd have been like,
looking
really?
at those rosters,
did Piacenza like get? Well, I can pull up my like preseason things now. Yeah. Like I for sure Piacenza had a Trentino.
I absolutely did too. When you look at it with Lagumgia, and I mean Lagumgia was injured this year, so like that's not the easiest. But like you just kept on going with the same roster all throughout the year. You had Aaron Russell on the bench, never gave him a shot.
Yeah, that was weird.
It's just like it very much feels like Heinen vibes from last year, where you're just a dumb old stooge who gets into your ways and you have no idea to break it open.
Yeah, I agree. Also, sometimes with these like expensive stitched together teams, like it oftentimes takes more than 1 year. But like it seems like Piacenza is going to blow it up again, find a new roster of players. Like I don't know,
bringing in Simone next year.
Yeah, I don't know if these. I don't like this. You spend all this money, you bring a new team. Try a little consistency, guys. Like it clearly works for a lot of teams in volleyball.
Yeah, I think that's in general just how like some of these newer clubs rock, right? Because Piacenza in this current form now isn't the old school Piacenza. They folded, then another team came back up, and I think that's oftentimes what, and I think that's like to bring it back to that Trento conversation. Trentino is a club that I bet like we know their budget isn't anywhere near compared to like even like the Piacenzas or Monzas. I think, but they rock it so well, and they have such a good like almost like a Zaxa too, where they structure everything so well, and they're such a good club top to bottom, like even just organizationally that just seeps into the team.
Well, I mean they're the number 1 youth program in Italy as well, right? Like
exactly.
A lot of these guys have played there for a decade already when they're like 24. So. I think, again, like you said, it's just the chairman probably throwing a fit after every loss, and then have to bring in all these new players, and then the same thing happens next year, rinse and repeat. Whereas, just give them a couple years, do a 2-year contract. If it doesn't work after 2 years, then you can.
Like it should be one of these things. Like I see so often where they just like bring out all these players. Like Vibo for last year is a perfect example. Like keep Rissard, keep DeFalco, keep Chinyese, keep one of these players that you can build around.
Yeah, I would say there's issues because they're getting paid more, and Vibo can afford it.
Yeah, you think DeFalco's getting better paid in Poland than he was in?
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I think in general, like with a club like Ravenna, we've seen before, like Valencia.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway,
all right.
Where are we?
Yeah, where are we?
Let's go. We have Libero and opposite.
Let's start with the opposites. Because I'll be very honest,
let's do Libero first, because
okay.
I think we can have some interesting discussions about the opposite.
Fair, and I have very little to add to the conversation with
for
Libero.
It's all like definitely one of the weakest years for Libero in the SuperLega, in my opinion. Like very very weak year. Grupenikov isn't there. Like Danani isn't there. Yeah. Shoji isn't there. Zatorsky isn't there.
No one.
Yeah, like pretty much all the top liberos are not playing in Italy.
We have Rossini. Like, who else do we have?
So this is by far the hardest pick. I had to dive deep into the volumetrics on this one.
Yeah, because
but I ended up going with Fabio Balasso on my first team.
Okay.
For Lube, like they're a strong passing team. I don't think other than him they have like the best passers. So again, like good numbers, good efficiency, good passing efficiency, great backcourt defensive player. Again, like good number of digs per set. And again, in a normal year, I probably wouldn't give it to him, but like, I don't even know who else like to pick. Like Kalachi, like hasn't been that good. None of the usual subs. Like Passerini's been okay, but I don't even want to pick him either. His numbers aren't that great.
It's so hard with Libero numbers because they're basically non-existent.
Yeah, which is why I was saying I was diving into volley metrics because I'm not using these.
We're not statting digs. We're not statting out of system setting. We're not statting like anything that has to do with serve receive really. So yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah,
it's a tough one for sure. All right, who'd you go with?
Do you want to try and make a pick for your first team or?
I think Julian Zanger had a pretty good, in my opinion, had a pretty good year with Trento.
Okay,
maybe.
Let's see. I feel like yes. The issue with Zanger is that he's behind Micheletto, Lavia, and Kaziski in passing.
Okay, never mind then.
So he's the worst. He's the worst. I don't think he's actually the worst passer, but this year statistically he was the worst.
Who's the guy from Toronto?
I'm not sure.
I can't remember. I remember him being pretty good. I know Rob was pretty high on him when they were.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you my second team. Leonardo Scanfurlo from Piacenza, who I know you're not happy with Piacenza, but
no, actually I like that.
Okay,
I like that.
Yeah,
so I remember talking about Scanfurlo this year, being like, oh, okay, I like him.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. Because every year there's like 3 or 4 Italian liberos. To be honest, I'm not that familiar with them. Even though I watched like a ton of games, they pop out of nowhere, right? Like every team needs new liberos from Italy. And yeah, like when he comes in, I'm like, wow, that was a great play. That was a great play. Wow, this is a good effort, like great technique. And then I was doing my research at the end of the year. Oh, he's actually like statistically one of the best passers in the SuperLega as well. So why not, right?
Look at that. There we go. Great. All right. Well, let's move on from liberos because unfortunately
we need some new liberos in the SuperLega.
We do, and that sucks because like I feel like the libero can be such a pivotal position, right?
Totally.
So.
I mean, you've seen how Donani has completely changed Berlin, like yeah. Okay, opposite. This was a weird one. I think we can easily agree on our first team.
Yeah, Tanjak Stern.
Oh, I had him too.
Namir. How could it be anything? Other than
this was
Namir? Maybe
other than Leon. Like you don't even have to think like 2 seconds about this. This was a very very one-sided decision. A really great year from Namir. Like one of his best ever, I think. Like maybe not his best ever serving because he's not like he's only at 0.4, which is still really good, but. He's been up around 0.6, 0.7 aces per set. But, he's playing a little safer, making a few less errors. But, yeah, the efficiency for me has been great this year. Like, I feel like his block vision has been better this year, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And, I mean, maybe that's just has something to do with Bruno setting you over Gianelli. And I think one of the things that I've always noticed with Bruno is that Bruno sets the right side ball immaculately.
Yeah.
We've seen him run the step and the back quick with Lucas for years with Brazil, and he's always just been like, I think that's like look at how average Wallace was in Turkey last year.
Right. Yeah.
Playing for Sport Toto without Bruno. So I think that when you're in a scenario with Bruno, is that he just is so magical at setting the right side. But that being said, he's still scoring and he's still putting the ball away, and he's still up there.
Yeah, and even when Modena like was struggling a lot, I wouldn't necessarily he was like the reason most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So like Modena, obviously, like I mean, it's still not over for them. They could have a really good playoff run here, but like you said, they could. Some bad early season stuff, losing in the CV Cup quite early, but definitely there's no fault to Mir. Okay. The second team opposite, though. Oh man,
this one is tough. This one was tough, because I actually went away from all of my other ones, where I've just been kind of going with straight stats.
Okay.
And I went.
Yeah, there's no rules here, Everett.
I know.
Let's make this very clear.
I know.
There's no rules here.
You've already contradicted yourself many times.
Many times.
So, I went with Kamil Rychlicki.
That's a good pick. I think I'm gonna have to go with Rychlicki as well.
Okay.
I've gone with I've literally changed it probably 5 or 6 times.
All right, let's talk about because is Linus Weber in that conversation?
No, absolutely not. I like Linus Weber, but he is by far the least efficient attacker out of all these guys. He makes a ton of service errors, a ton of attacking errors.
But he also
very sloppy player.
He also has a lot of aces too.
Sure, yeah, and I think that the potential's there. I think if he cleans up a few things, he's there for sure. But you know how I feel about high volume, low efficiency guys.
Yeah, I mean there was this middle ground of almost great right sides in SuperLega.
Yeah, exactly.
With Weber, maybe Weber's on the lower end of that, but especially when you're looking at Grosjean and Lagumgia,
yeah.
Like the guys who switched. Patry was another guy with Milano who, I think kind of 2 years in a row has just kind of floated.
Yeah, he hasn't been as good in the SuperLega as I thought he would be. He plays way better for France.
Once again, because Tonyuti is setting him.
Yeah, that's true.
We're going to see how good Tyreek Hill is when he goes to the Dolphins, when he doesn't have Patrick Mahomes slinging it to him, and vice versa, because we're going to see how good Mahomes is without Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. Even like Mads Jensen wasn't that bad. Wasn't that bad.
No, he's painfully average. He wasn't bad, but it's just he's
Yuji Nishida.
You know what?
Actually, I had Yuji Nishida at one point because I'm like, this guy's actually a more efficient attacker than a lot of guys. His numbers are almost the exact same as Lagumgia.
His numbers are very good, right?
And the serving too. I was like, oh, this
serving
points. He's like a freaking Namir Delaziz level server.
Absolutely. I mean, that's let's be honest. And we've talked about this for a long time. Nishida is among the top servers in the world, top 5.
Yeah, which is one of the most important skills in volleyball.
Absolutely. And he does provide a lot offensively. Early in the year, we were really tough on him for his efficiency because his efficiency was down in the low 30s.
Yeah.
And then that was just that's not the Polish efficiency. I know it's a completely different number once you start looking at it, how it actually is, because he was blocked a lot this year. Mostly because Saida just couldn't set him all of that well. He left him hanging low on the inside quite a bit and was just setting him into a phone booth. But yeah, he improved that efficiency. His efficiency was 0.41 by the end of the year.
Yeah, which is good.
Which is pretty good. So yeah, you know what? I actually had Nishida. I considered him, but
yeah. For me, he's probably the next guy.
Really?
Yeah, I would say so. Just that serving is so. I mean, I think Nishida he could be on a good team and not he would be an asset.
Oh, absolutely. Don't get me wrong. Any team in the world, minus Modna's taking a step down with Nishida, you could probably make the argument that maybe Piacenza and Monza might be as well, with Lagumgia and Grosjean. But other than that, and even then, I might take Nishida more over either of those guys, depending on how the team is constructed.
Right. And I mean, he does give up a lot in the block. Let's not diminish that at all. But
and that's your big role as the right side too. On the opposite, if you're not able to slow down the big hitters, especially if you're going against Leon or Leal, Angerpet, any of these guys are just going to use and abuse that block,
which they did,
which they absolutely did, right? So, and I do think that that's why I went with a guy like Rychlicki. He just does everything so efficiently and so well for what his team needs.
One more guy I consider, Tommaso Stefani.
You know what? I think you have to. I think he did some good things at Toronto. They didn't get relegated.
Once he was kind of given the opportunity, and he's the most efficient attacker out of all these guys, other than Namir. So he's a guy who I'm wow, that's I mean, we kind of knew because we saw him at the U21. He was a big part of that as well. But
once again, one of those young guys that is just able to get it done.
He's gonna have a nice, well-paid career for sure.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. He's
Italian opposites. That's a high value, 100%. High value position.
To me is I really enjoyed watching Stefani too. I'm very interested to see where he goes next season, because I think he's one of those guys that like to me, if you're Trentino, maybe you start looking at him, or who's the other guy?
The other opposite. Romano.
Yeah, Romano.
Yeah, he should get a starting spot too. I think
so too. Where was Romano this year? Was he at Trentino?
He was in Milan.
He was Milan. That's what. Yeah, but I think like he's a guy like I'm actually I like Stefani, but I like Romano more than I do Stefani.
I don't know. I was in the gym when Romano's like had that fifth set thing, which was pretty incredible. But I would still take Stefani. Okay. I think overall.
That's true. That like fifth.
Also, Romano I think is like 4 or 5 years older.
That's true. He is quite a bit. He is quite a bit older. Yeah. But still, man, like
he's good. Yeah, he's good. He could be a starter in Italy for sure. All right, should we do our awards here before we end it?
Yeah. What kind of awards we got?
MVP, MIP, Most Improved Player, Best U23 Player, and do you want to do our Defensive Players of the Year as well?
Sure.
All right. MVP. Who you got, Everett? Do you need to think about it all? I can go first.
Okay. Well, here's my question, and this is a tale as a discussion as old as time when it comes to this kind of stuff. But are we doing most valuable player to the league or most valuable player to their team?
Okay, so like the best player versus like the player who, I would say league.
Okay,
league.
Then
that's
Leon.
Yeah, that's what I had too.
It's like having LeBron in the league,
Yeah, like prime LeBron. Like
he's just so damn good, and like, it would be like if you gave it to anyone else but a Gonu on the women's side, right?
Yeah, and like, I liked him a lot this year. I feel like he went back to the basics a bit this year. He's just doing what he's good at, which is he doesn't need to tip, he doesn't need to wipe, he just needs to crush the ball every time, go high off hands, go left off hands. But
he's getting the sets this year.
Yeah, of course.
And there's more options.
Of course.
Like there's a lot of things there. But yeah, absolutely, 100% agree.
But he's how about his passing too? I think that's the one thing that's for me is like looked way better than his time like with Zenit Kazan.
Yeah.
Like I would say he's not a liability passing anymore. I'd say he's like a bit of an asset. No?
I would generally agree. I would generally, I think he's come a long way in terms of his passing, and he's not a liability anymore. In terms of like the teams don't really serve him all the time.
Yeah, you don't need to you don't have to hide him at all.
I think he likes it. I think he likes being in rhythm like that. Pass a quick ball.
Yeah,
transition to the outside, crush one, you're good to go.
Yeah, especially when passing position 4, and then he also does like the his back row ball has been great this year.
Yeah,
so, Leon.
We don't really need to go in.
We're so lucky to be able to watch this guy play right now. It's amazing.
You're not wrong, and that he's still playing and still in his prime and like still going.
But
and
he's like a month older than me. Like it's crazy.
Shit, he's younger than me.
And I'm like, oh man, I can't jump anymore. Like I'm way so past my prime.
Yeah, seriously. Okay. Do you have like a second?
No, I didn't even consider anyone else.
Fair enough.
I mean, maybe G Nelly.
G Nelly could be.
G Nelly?
Rock Mosic once again.
MVP, let's go.
MVP.
But we actually do have it. This is the only award there actually is an MVP in the SuperLega.
Is there?
Yeah, I think it's based on who gets the most votes. You know how they do it after match like MVP.
Yeah.
I think it's whoever has the most of those. Whoever gets the most votes of those at the end of the year is the MVP. So we'll see.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Most improved player. Who do you want to give
most
it to?
Improved player? I gave it to Mr. Luigi Randazzo. And I know it's weird because I was just looking at who's so like the most improved from last season this season. I know Randazzo's been good before. The last couple of years he's been terrible. He had a really, really rough year last year. I know injuries factor into that, but for me it was a bit of a bounce back year for Luigi. I know he's still not the best player, but I felt like he was an important part of Toronto.
Okay.
You're not
sold.
He was his most improved. So we're looking at the total gap.
Oh, 100%.
He was so bad last year that I'm like, oh.
Yeah, okay. Maybe. I don't know. That's a tough one for me.
Okay.
I'm going with Paolo Porro.
Okay, but here's the thing. I don't like giving to like a super young guy. Because
What?
if you're going from 17 to 18, of course you're going to improve.
Okay, maybe that's not fair. Then Das Vronic.
Yeah. Okay.
Then I
I like that pick.
I wanted to give it to Das Vronic. You know,
Because even if his numbers aren't that different, like it's just all up across the board. He for me, he looks way better on the court.
but also like last year, like he had Lagumgia with him at Monza, and like Lagumgia was like running the show, whereas now with Grosjean, like I thought Das Vronic had a fantastic season overall.
Yeah, but see, my thing with Das Vronic, like I feel like he's almost like the exact. I mean, the numbers are pretty much the exact same as last year.
Are they?
Like 40% efficiency both years, scoring a little more this year, but close.
Maybe he just passes the eye test.
The reception 20% both years. I agree. He looks better. I definitely agree with that.
That's basically like I'm just going this based on the eye test. Like I'm not.
Yeah. You know me, I'm a stats guy.
Yeah, 378 points this year. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Like it is a lot. Although Grosjean was hitting almost 50% this season too, man.
Yeah. But Randazzo went from 33% last year to 39% this year. 6% jump in efficiency. Scoring a lot more, passing a lot better.
Yeah, but he's still swinging under 40%. Oh man,
Zavronic's 1% better.
Yeah, you're not wrong, but still,
and it didn't improve at all.
He just looks way better if you ask me.
But I'm happy for Randazzo because that's got to be tough. Being injured, like you were a star in the Italian national team, you were next up. Like then you're injured, you didn't get selected. You've been through all this stuff. Now there's young players who are better than you, and you missed your opportunity. So I feel good for him.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, best U23 player. Micheletto. Okay, so you have Mosic ahead of him.
Oh, is Mosic U23?
He's younger than Micheletto. He's 2002. I know, right?
No.
Everett, how many times do we need to do this?
Okay.
Yeah.
If there's anyone else, I would be questioning it, but you do your research.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I've said before on this podcast, I think Mosic is going to be the better player eventually. But right now, I think Micheletto's better, and that's why I had him as the best U23 player, which I already went over. We already kind of had this discussion in our outside hitter all-star team. So
for some reason, I thought Mosic was way older. I feel like it just feels like
that's why I've been
I just feels like you've been talking about him forever.
Yeah, because I was talking about him when he was like 16 when he was playing in the Slovenian league.
Okay, this is true. All right. Okay, well then I have to stick with Mosic because I picked him before, and I mean that's not a bad.
No, there's no rules here.
That's
there's
not
rules.
A bad choice either.
No, you could go either one for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, and like we've said before, the other guy like Yant probably.
Yant is definitely
Poro, like you said before.
Yeah, Yant.
Stefani, like we've said.
Stefani, man, like that's a pretty good team once you start putting that all together. You know,
that could be a playoff team for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No one really, no young guys in the middle, but usually you don't see a lot of strong young players in the middle. It's a really tough position to play.
Yeah, I think like even like when you think about it, like Crick and Schwartz were like two of the youngest middles really in the league. You know,
and they're not that young,
and they're not yet that young. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Any other awards you want to give?
Well, do you want to give our defensive players of the year, front court and back court?
Sure. Let's do that.
All right. Okay, let's do front court first. For me, is between two guys. The two guys on the first team for me, Lizenach and Simone. And for me, I think I'm going to have to go with Robert Laney Simone as defensive player. I picked him last year as well, I'm pretty sure. 108 blocks on the year, 13.8% block touch percentage, which is a percent higher than Lizenach, and I'm pretty sure the one of the tops in the league. So, I mean, for me, he's so good at offense that we almost forget how good in serving, that we almost forget how dominant he is of a blocker as well. And he's not dominant every game because he does sometimes take games off, but when Simone is locked in, like he is unbelievable. I mean, he has every asset you want. He has the long arms. He has the quick second jump. He has really good instincts. He has great hand formation. He's one of the best blockers ever, in my opinion. And still doing it at 33, 34? Very impressive.
All right. Let me just see here with our winning walls percent.
All right, while you do that, I'm going to do my back row player of the year as well. And we kind of alluded to this earlier, but like liberos have been so weak this year.
So weak.
So I'm actually not going with a libero.
No, who are you going with?
Irvin Angerpet as my back row player of the year. I think the best passer in the year, this league, in my opinion. One of the reasons I took him on my team. I know Modin has the best year. And again, another guy who clearly doesn't try his hardest every single match. But for me, in the back row in position 6, Irvin Angerpet's like unbelievable asset. Just the amount of balls he picks up, the hustle, the reads he makes on defense are just like, I think it was Mark Lebedeau in his blog post or something, did a blog post at Irvin Angerpet, and how he's thinking like 3 steps ahead. And the predictions he makes are absolutely incredible. Again, maybe because he doesn't do it every game. Some games he doesn't at all. But for me, it's just maybe if Grebennikov was in the league, he would probably win. If Shoji was in the league, he would win. But for me, Irvin Angerpet, like passing plus defense, is the best player.
Fair enough. I'm gonna go with Matteo Piano. He led the league in blocks. Led the league in blocks per set.
Yeah.
Crushed it. Like he was averaging
point eight is really, really good for the Italian league.
0.8, and
that's
then
insane.
Podraskinin came in at second at 0.78. 71 blocks on the season. Blew everyone out. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Matteo Piano. I think he had a fantastic defensive year.
Yeah, he did. I know this is a bad thing as an analyst to say, but for me, I just don't like the look. The way he blocks. He looks.
The look is awkward.
He's a very unorthodox player, which I think kind of throws people off because he almost has like weird timing on his blocks.
You're not wrong,
he has kind of a weird, goofy footwork, and then but then he has it's probably like a 7'5" wingspan and just like reaches up, boom, boom.
Yeah. He tracks well. He's got good hands. His feet are good laterally. I don't know. There's a lot to like there from
another guy who's like a good bounce back year because he's been injured a lot last
100%
last few seasons as well.
By the way, if you guys aren't watching this Mac versus Calgary game, we're about to go into a 5th set here. I think Calgary won the first 2. Mac is up in the 4th now, 17-15. But yeah, this is a good one for sure. Sorry. Honestly, I don't know if I have a backcourt guy.
No one this year.
Just because I'm just gonna piggyback on yours, and I'm just gonna go with Angerpet.
All right, good pick.
Just because I didn't watch, and I can't think of anyone.
Fabio Palazzo too. I would consider
Palazzo. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
That's when you really we should do more. We can do you really have to watch a lot of tape.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Cool. Well, that's it. You got to go, don't you?
Yeah, Friday night.
Let's get lit. In-laws are in town, right?
They are. So gonna be nice dinner. We're having tapas, Spanish tapas.
Oh yeah, you making that or you?
No, I have no idea. I can't cook the octopus. Are you kidding me?
You never know. You never know. I'm allergic, so I wouldn't eat
to octopus.
I'm allergic to shellfish, so I don't think octopus.
Honestly,
falls
you're not
within
missing that much.
That's a big block.
Well, why don't we before last thing? Why don't you kind of explain where we are in U Sports very quickly?
Right now, it's quarterfinals. This is the first match. That was a questionable call on that one, and it was the Quebec referee. I forget his name. Nice guy though. Nice go, Matt Van Ralt.
Hard sport to ref.
Hard sport to ref. Dave Preston has an argument here because the referee, the linesperson on the line, called that ball in, and the up ref, who was standing right there, called it out. But I don't know.
Where's the challenge system?
Where's the challenge system?
Sports?
Yeah. U Sports cares about men's volleyball at all, even though it's the best product they have. But yeah, let's not talk about that.
All right.
Ooh.
Good podcast. I
Good
think
podcast.
we got it's a really good weekend because we got playoffs this weekend.
Yeah, we got playoffs this
Sick.
weekend. I've got this
That's
weekend.
what I'm doing.
There's Canadian men's soccer going to be qualifying for the World Cup, so I'm going to be very drunk on Sunday.
All right.
Um,
Yeah, it's a great sports weekend actually. It's
great
like one of the
sport.
best
We
in
got-
recent memory.
we
March
got
Madness.
March Madness going
All right.
down. Like, the
Perfect.
NBA is starting to heat up. Raptors, who knows? They got a big win over the Cavs last night.
Yeah.
So,
But since this is a volleyball podcast,
since this is the volleyball podcast, we only watch volleyball,
yeah.
right? Only watch volleyball. Yeah, no, plenty of things going on.
All right.
Maybe if one of our listeners would like to build us a script that would create a daily schedule for us, because neither of us know how to do that.
That's the white whale of volleyball, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is. All right, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure to tune into this 9x9 Tuesday nights at 7:30. Do you have anything else coming up soon?
I'll let you guys know if I do. But
All right.
yeah.
What? But
If you're listening to this on the 5-1 Volleyball podcast, I guess this is something we'll try and do here is me and Everett get together. You can watch the live on his YouTube, watch audio, listen to
Yes.
audio on my feed.
are we gonna like punch that in for Friday afternoons?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right.
So listen here every Friday afternoon.
Yeah,
Let's
listen
do it.
here every Friday. All right. Peace, guys. Have a great week.